A California woman by the name of Hedy Chen is suing In-N-Out Burger because she went to the drive-thru and they handed her a hot cup of coffee without a coffee sleeve, and it was burning hot, and she dumped it all over her body. Then they refused to call 911 for her. They then asked her to move forward because she was blocking the drive-thru.
Oh my God.
But they did hand her a bag of ice. Of course, you're not supposed to put ice on a burn like that, so she is suing, and we've got a quote from her lawyer. What they were supposed to do was call 911 because the operators know that. They said there is a policy of not calling 911. That policy violates their duty of care to customers. She was also wearing shorts, by the way, so that does make this a little bit worse, I suppose. I had a situation a couple months ago, right before doing the show here, that I went to McDonald's, and I never go to McDonald's. I went to the drive-thru, I was starving, and the woman handed me a large soda, but the lid wasn't on quite right. So, it like bends in if it's not.
Oh, no.
And I dumped an entire large soda all over myself.
Hilarious.
So that's funny because yes, my seatbelt's still a little sticky, the gear's a little sticky when it's cold, but not hot.
Yeah.
And I just drove away. I had that moment where I was like, I could either just rip this girl apart, but I was like, what does that accomplish?
Right. You are
so
quite calm.
Yeah,
Yes.
I just had that moment. I was like, how am I going to do this? And I pulled myself together. But this is pretty awful, and the fact that they refused to call 911 seems to be the worst part.
And it seems even crazier that it was In-N-Out Burger, because those are the people that are known for their politeness and they come running up to your car with a little computer screen and they tell you to have a nice day, and there's a little John 3:16 on the bottom, and they just love customer service. So what was the major malfunction with this guy or gal?
Am I mistaken, or John 3:16? That thou shalt not call 911?
You got it. No, thou shalt not eat Burger King.
Right. Is that the worst part of this thing, that they didn't call 911? I mean no sleeve on the hot coffee, that's pretty bad.
But accidents happen, but to not take responsibility for it and help the person you just screwed over is pretty bad.
Yeah. I couldn't help but chuckle, not because I think it's funny, but just because it's so ridiculous, at the fact that they told her to stop blocking traffic.
You're right. They literally...
She's like, I'm dying, please call 911. No. Get the fuck out of here. Sorry. Deal with it yourself.
They, quote, handed her a bag of ice and asked her to move her car out of the way.
God,
can you imagine burning hot coffee?
I definitely think that it is In-N-Out's responsibility to call 911 at that point if she's burning. Better safe than sorry. They might have thought, and I'm speculating at this point, that she was overreacting. But even if you think that she's overreacting, you have to call 911. She could suffer from some severe burns as a result. But I'm really surprised she didn't have a phone and she didn't call 911. I'm wondering about that.
Yeah, I'm guessing she did, but she was probably dealing with being burned and having to somehow drive forward with hot coffee. Do you guys know what our laws on punitive damages are here in California? I'm not...
Take them to the cleaners?
Is it?
I think so. What about the documentary Hot Coffee?
Yeah.
That's about this very thing, about how this whole thing started with McDonald's.
Right, but every state has different laws related to that. So in some states you can sue for $200 million. California may be different, so maybe she can't sue for the...
This is where that move was born. I'm sure, I don't know, but I assume you can at least try.
Yeah. By the way, can I just say that I really like our In-N-Ouch here?
Oh, that's great.
Who came up with that?
Good.
That's pretty solid.
You know what? I'm glad Anna said it. Who doesn't have a cell phone? Maybe it was dead. I don't know. We don't know the circumstances. But if I burn myself, I may be upset for a couple of seconds. Let me call 911. You can have a couple seconds. And number two, have you ever seen those lines in and out?
The lines in and out are pretty bad. So
get the hell out of the way.
If they handed her, what do you guys really think, though? If they handed her a hot cup of coffee without a sleeve and it really was burning hot, so it really was their fault that this happened, do you think she, without us knowing exactly what the punitive damages laws are, what do you think she deserves out of this? If she really has burns and scars and all that.
I hate commenting on that because I don't know. I'm not an expert on it, but obviously she should get all her medical bills taken care of, and there should be some sort of settlement for the pain and suffering that she dealt with. But I don't know a specific figure. I can't say.
Yeah.
Enough to cover her skin graft.
Yeah. But nothing beyond that? Really?
No, I agree. If that were me, and that's pretty traumatic. And handing someone a bag of ice in that situation, like you said, it's really, really not what you're supposed to do. So they only made it worse, and then they told her to leave. GTFO because these animal-style fries aren't going to make themselves. So I do think that she's. I would like to be compensated if that were me. Of course, that'll learn me to be eating fast food too.
Suffice to say, this is not going to stop any of us from going to In-N-Out, right?
Oh, please.